Hi, I'm Billy, one of the Fuji guys, here to show you the first look at the Fujifilm X-Pro1. This is a camera with the same styling of the X100, all in black of course, but now offers the ability to interchange lenses using Fujifilm's new X-mount that's found on this camera itself. The X-mount design was really designed to allow Fujifilm to create the sharpest and highest resolving power camera that we can get in this category of cameras. And one of the reasons for that is that it allows us to create a shorter flange distance between the lens and the body, and so that we can reduce the back focus distance to the image sensor itself. And by having a reduced back focus, we can actually maximize light efficiency going through the lens and going towards the sensor itself, again producing unbelievable sharp and bright images using this type of technology. Of course, the sensor itself, the camera uses an APS-C sensor. It's a 16 megapixel APS-C CMOS sensor, and has the low bypass filter removed so that you can provide for even sharper resolution. But of course, we have to deal with the moire issue that Bayer patterns have by putting on low pass filters. So what we've done is redesigned the color filter arrays. Instead of using a 2x2 Bayer filter pattern, which actually has a lot of repeating patterns, which is what the cause of a lot of moires in images, which is sort of like in terms of taking pictures of checkered shirts, you see that false image and false color. So what we've done was created a new filter array that mimics that of grain of film, where we take a look at film. There's large grains, small grains, and they're all random. And so what we did was created a 6x6 grid for the color filter arrays, and containing 36 different pixels of red, blue, and green in a somewhat random pattern. And so it actually prevents the issues of moires happening without the use of a low-pass filter or an AA, anti-aliasing filter, which allows for highest resolution, which is, again, the big reason for not just only the customization of this X-mount, but also for the customization of the sensor technology too, to work efficiently with the different lenses. So taking a look at the lenses that are offered with the X-Pro1, we first have the 18mm f2 lens. Again, this is a prime lens, non-zoom lens. And the reason for all these lenses that we introduce is really about image quality. We know that a fixed focus lens is going to give you the sharpest images possible, and we wanted to do that first. And so this camera, or this lens, when we attach this to the X-Pro1, eventually will give us, in terms of the 35mm equivalency, to approximately a 27mm lens. So as you see, it's attached like that. So it's wider than the X100 in that sense. It's still an f2 lens. It's very fast. There is a thread on it. It's a 52mm thread. And of course, it does come with a low lens hood as well. As you can see, in terms of the actual lens itself, there's aperture controls on the lens in 1/3 increments with markings for one stop from f2 to, again, f16. And of course, A meaning the automatic. And there's a button release right here where you can push it down and remove the lens from the camera. And of course, the lens itself has a good weight. Its metal construction really shows for the quality of this lens. The second lens that Fujifilm is offering is the 35mm f1.4 lens, and that is approximately equivalent to 53mm in terms of 35mm equivalencies on the X-Pro1. So 53mm equivalency lens is a great focal lens for somewhat mid-portrait or candid portrait, and it's sort of what the eye sort of see in terms of the focal length on the lens. It has a 52mm filters, just like the wider angle version of the lens. And again, we have the manual focus ring on this lens, and also the aperture controls, again, from f1.4 all the way to f16, with, again, 1/3 increments, so that, again, you can use the camera and do 1/3 stops without taking your eyes out the viewfinder. So again, putting that lens on that, again, matching the lineups for the red tabs. As you can see, it does look very nice. Again, you got the manual zoom, and then you got the aperture controls, again, in 1/3 stops. So that's the 50mm lens. So I'm just going to leave that on this camera. The last lens to show off, really, and I really like this lens, and this is actually the Fujinon 60 millimeter f2.4 lens. So again, a very, very fast lens. It has a 39 millimeter thread on it, so you can attach any commercially available filters. Again, the hood is included. You got the manual focus ring, as well, again, as the 1/3 stop apertures from an f2.4 all the way to an f22 instead on this camera. As you can see, the design of some of these cameras here, the last lens element, whether it's this piece or it's the wider angle one, as you can see the glass element right there, it's very, very close, so that when you have the image sensor, again, like we said, by allowing us for the customized X mount, we can make these lenses not just more compact, but also produce the lens to be closer to the sensor so that light has to travel less. And that's going to reduce any issues of incorrect light bouncing in from different directions. And again, these lenses are high quality Fujinon lenses. All of them has aspherical lenses, and a few of these have sort of the extra dispersion lens built in to provide for, of course, better image quality. So again, those are the three types of lenses. I'm just going to put this cap back into each one here quickly. And let's take a look at the X-Pro1 now. So again, this is with the 35 millimeter lens and f1.4 lens. And of course, on this camera to a 35 millimeter film camera, it's equivalent to approximately 53 millimeters. So let's look at the operation. We've got that 1/3 stop, like I mentioned. We've got the manual focusing options. On the front of the camera, this is where you actually change the focusing mechanism from manual, continuous to single autofocus. You got that release button that's found, again, on similar rangefinder style cameras is on this side. Of course, on the S5 Pro is on the opposite side. So ideally, when you're changing lenses, you're going to probably hold the camera like this, hold that button, and twist the lens off of the camera. Again, this is an X-mount lens. And of course, you have the various pneumo contacts that are, again, made specifically for Fujinon lenses and for this particular mount. And the reason for that is we wanted high levels of information being traveled from the lens so that we can create any corrections, whether it's the focal range, the focal length of the lens, to the aperture, to even any chromatic aberration controls and effects that we learned from designing on this camera to be corrected internally. And having that high-speed transfer rate would have not been possible if we were to stick with some numerous amounts. Of course, we are developing the M-mount adapter as well, so that of course you can use your Leica lenses on this camera, and of course take advantage of some of the high-quality lenses that are out there that already exist. Okay, so looking at the front of this camera, of course, we also have the switch. It is a hybrid viewfinder, but what's unique on this is that it's actually a multi-view hybrid viewfinder. So there's actually a sliding glass that magnifies the LCD screen internally, or the optical viewfinder internally as well, so that when you interchange the different lenses, it automatically gives you proper magnification so that you can see and frame your shot a lot easier. With rangefinder style cameras, if you put a long zoom camera in, nothing changed on the screen. The only thing that changes really is the overlay that shrinks smaller and smaller. But sometimes on a long zoom camera, it's hard to see what you're framing with that small low screen, even though you have that large viewfinder. And so having the magnification glass that slides in automatically as you stick each lens in, it really makes the photo experience a lot easier, especially for framing, especially using, again, the telephoto macro lens that we have. Again, in the front, you also have the AF assist lamp with the 2 stereo microphones here. So let's just turn the camera on. It's similar to the X100 in terms of switch. The on and off switch is on top. You also got the shutter cable. Oops. You know what, I got to put the batteries in, so let's go take a look at the bottom of the camera. It does use a new battery. It's the NPW126 battery here, and just following the diagrams to insert the batteries properly, you do that. And I'm just going to stick a memory card as well. The camera uses an SD card. Highly recommend an SDHC and SDXC card. And especially if you're going to shoot RAW and HD videos, I highly recommend a very fast card, at least a Class 6 or higher card. For doing HD videos or even shooting RAW and JPEGs. Ideally, find the fastest card you can afford. That would be best for this X-Pro1 camera. Okay, so let's try to turn the camera on again now with the batteries in. As you can see, very similar to the X100, you have sort of that information screen. The view button is now moved up to the top, so it's more in the appropriate position where you have your eyes up and you can quickly switch. You got that, again, the auto eye sensor that switches between the two different views. You can push it so that it goes up to the top, or switch it so it only shows the LCD screen, or again, having the eye sensor. Pushing the display button will toggle between the different screen options you have here. You got the custom modes. Again, very similar layout to that of the X100. Of course, the LCD screen resolution is similar to the X100, but the actual anti-reflective coating that's on this LCD screen is much improved and actually provides for better color reproduction, almost 4 times better than the average LCD out there, including the brightness of the screen as well. You notice the button controls are a lot larger than previous X100 because we had a lot of people complaining about how the buttons were a little bit hard to navigate, and so we created the buttons a lot easier to push and properly located as well. One thing I want to show you is that in the menu option on this camera, as you can see, there's actually 5 different tabs for shooting and 3 different tabs for setup. So it's a lot quicker to go through some of the menu settings on the camera, and you can just jump in and select the options that you want to correct. So again, a lot faster, a lot easier than having just one tab where you have to scroll through the multiple pages. You can actually just jump over to the tabs. So that's newly improved in the shooting menu. Also in the playback menu, it's the same thing as well. Again, pushing the menu OK button, you have various tabs on the side now so that you don't have to navigate multiple pages to get one thing. You can just switch by the tabs itself.